CC Cycle 2, Week 7. These are some tutor ideas and what we did in our class. My name is Kristen Gibbs, and I am so excited we are here on our next 6 weeks of CC. I'm going to go ahead and dive in on what we did. Starting off with math, the tune is to Jolly Old St. Nicholas, and so what I did was I had each of the children, we can have a Christmas hat on top of your head, and then we took our shoes and we all lined up our shoes down in a row. And then I had them pass out candy while they were singing the 13s. So it's to Jolly Old St. Nicholas. 13, 26, 39, 52, 65, 78, 91, 104, 117, 130, 143, 156, 169, 182, 195. That's what we did for math and singing it to the Jolly Old St. Nicholas, putting the candy in each one of the shoes. We jumped on over to English. We are continuing our pronouns, and this is possessive pronouns, and we did to the chicken dance. So, possessive pronouns, my, your, his, hers, it's our, your, their. So, this part of the song, it's our, your, there, actually goes up in tune. It's our, your, there. So it should go like this. Possessive pronouns, my, your, his, hers, it's our, your, there. Then we moved on to history. Tell me about the Reformation. In 1517, Martin Luther began the Protestant Reformation by printing the 95 Theses that made Pope Leo X excommunicate him. Later, John Calvin joined the Reformation. And then the song says, and this is how it all began. In 1517, Martin Luther began the Protestant Reformation. So what we did for our history was I passed out puppets and we sang. I have like these little finger puppets and we sang the song to this. So in 1517, Martin Luther began the Protestant Reformation by printing the 95 Theses that made Pope Leo X excommunicating. Later, John Calvin joined the Reformation and this is where it all began. In 1517, Martin Luther began the Protestant Reformation, and they were playing with the finger puppets. We also did it again with scarves. I have a bag full of scarves, have them take it out and we can swirl them. In 1517, Martin Luther began the Protestant Reformation by printing the 95 Theses that made Pope Leo X excommunicating. Later, John Calvin joined the Reformation, and this is how it all began. In 1517, Martin Luther began the Protestant Reformation. I also have these sticks that I use for the kids, and you can use them in any subject, but the sticks have different things like, you can see this one is, they're all kind of really funny, like, or this one is, saluting like a soldier, balancing on one foot and clapping your hands. And there's just so many of them running in place. So what I normally like to do is have each child pick one of these, and then we sing the song to it, and then each child is doing something different, and then we have to go around and guess which ones they had, because as the year goes by they'll know all of these. Or you can have one person pick one and then everybody do the same thing. So these are a lot of fun to have the kids get into it. And so this is the last one, and that was history. And so let me show you the history, which was tell me about the Reformation. The next thing we moved on to was our Latin. For Latin, we have first conjugation endings, present tense. This I did to the song of the farmer and the dale. So we put on a cowboy hat and we sang it to the farmer and the dale. So, isti it, imis istis errant, first conjugation, perfect tense. And so, isti it, Imus, istis, errant, first conjugation, perfect tense. We did it with like Western, isti, it, imus, istis, errant, first conjugation, perfect tense, or perfect tense. And so we moved on from perfect tense into science. What are 6 forms of pollution? This was to Radioactive by Imagine Dragons. We sang the song to Radioactive because radioactive is a form of pollution. Noise, air, water, land, thermal, and radioactive. The hand motions for that is noise, air, water, land, we point down to the land, thermal, and radioactive. And the song is, what are 6 forms of pollution? Noise, air, and water, land, thermal, radioactive, radioactive. What are 6 forms of pollution? Noise, air, and water, land, thermal, radioactive, radioactive. The kids had a lot of fun with that song. Then we moved on to geography. Geography, I had a bag full of raisins, and because the song that we're going to sing is to The Ants Go Marching One by One, and our geography is European peninsulas. So the song goes like this. European Peninsula in Spain, Balkan Peninsula in Greece, Scandinavian Peninsula, Apennine Peninsula in Italy, the boot. And so what we did is we started off our CC by walking around and marching around the entire campus. We went all around through the hallways, marching and singing this song. Iberian Peninsula in Spain, Balkan Peninsula in Greece, Scandinavian Peninsula, Apennine Peninsula in Italy, the boot. And then we sat down, we had our maps in front of us, and then we had raisins and put them around like ants, and we had Iberian Peninsula right here, Balkan Peninsula, Scandinavian Peninsula, and then Apennine Peninsula right here in Italy, the boot. Looks like a little boot. So that was European peninsulas, and then we went on to that completes all that, and our last thing is timeline. I always like to take the timeline, throw it up in the air, have them find them, and then put them in order as we're singing the song. So it's Jesus the Messiah, year 180, year 180, year 180, Pentecost and the early church, persecution spreads the gospel, Herod's temple destroyed by Titus, Diocletian, divide the Roman Empire, Constantine legalizes Christianity, India's Gupta dynasty, and the motions for this are Jesus the Messiah, year 180, year 180, year 180, Pentecost and the early church, year 180, year 180, year 180, Pentecost and the early church, persecution spreads the gospel, Herod's temple destroyed by Titus, Diocletians divide the Roman Empire, Constantine legalizes Christianity, India's Gupta dynasty. And so if we did that again, it would be Jesus the Messiah, year 180, year 180, year 180, Pentecost and the early church, persecution spreads the gospel, Herod's temple destroyed by Titus, Diocletians divide the Roman Empire, Constantine legalizes Christianity, India's Gupta dynasty. So that's what we did for all of our memory work. And then we went on and we had Tin Whistle. I will make a separate video for Tin Whistle, but pretty much everything that we went over was, we had these books that we made. They're just these little blue books that I get from the Dollar Tree. And Each child has one of those blue books, and it's kind of just our notebook that we log everything that we're learning about in music, which will be tin whistle and also the composers. So what we did for today in music was we talked about who a conductor is. We talked about that we follow the conductor, and we talked about singing Mary Had a Little Lamb, and we broke the class in half. We also talked about what is harmony and working together to make a joyful noise. We also talked about disharmony and asked the children from last year, do you remember what the term was? And they said cacophony, which sounds like kind of like chaos, disharmony. Then we put a marker, we just took a marker and put it on their left hand. So they knew that the left hand, which one it was, and that's the one that goes on top of the tin whistle. We also sang our tin whistle song, which is, do you know the tin whistle, the tin whistle, the tin whistle? Do you know the tin whistle? These are its parts. Let me grab it. And we have barrel, fipple, mouthpiece, finger holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, left hand on top. And so we went over that song. Then we also did what is rest position. Each child will have a sleeping bag, and they'll put them in front of them and then lay the tin whistle on top of the sleeping bag, and this is in rest position. When it's in rest position, we do not touch the tin whistle. It is not for us to touch and not for us to play. It's resting, sleeping. And we also talked about our finger pads and how when you put your fingers onto the holes, guess what? It leaves little tiny Cheerios. Cheerio, you did it right. And so that lets us know that we are covering up the entire hole with our finger pads, just the tips. The next thing we did was we went around and we checked to see if the children were putting their left hand on top. The parents helped check with that. And then we also started learning how to count. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we practiced 1, 2, 1, 2, which was practicing blowing. We also practiced 1, 2, ready, play. 1, 2, ready, go. And how we learn how to go and stop, which is this is go and this is stop. So play, stop. And so you will see it go like this. 1, 2, ready, play. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stop. And so those are kind of the cues. Then we worked on those things for tin whistle, and then we jumped into science. For science, we did sun prints. Sun prints were awesome. This is kind of a couple of pictures of what we did. We did artwork, science artwork, which was the sun's ultraviolet light at work. And we talked about how we had this special sun print paper, and that was unique and special. And it's been coated with a specific molecule called Berlin green. It's polyatomic with iron and cyanide. And this molecule looks blue. But as we put the sun print paper into the sun, the energy of the sunlight, specifically the ultraviolet portion of the sun, begins to oxidize those iron atoms. And it increases the oxidation state, which changes the color and binds to the paper, and it changes to white. The piece of the nature or the bead or the button or the stencil, it blocks the sunlight and prevents the reaction from happening. And the blue areas begin to fade within like 3 to 5 minutes. And then we got to see the ultraviolet light of the oxidation of those iron atoms of the sun soaking into the water, and now the water molecules are reducing them back, which then creates the paper to like leave a stamp, and it sets it. And this, the unreacted Berlin green, is highly water soluble. And so we learned about that, and that sun print paper is a special kind of paper, and that we use energy waves including microwave, heat food, radio waves that send signals, x-rays that photograph our bones, infrared rays that work remote controls, visible rays that help with light that we see, and so many different more. So we talked about all those different kinds of things, and the experiment was super fun, just being able to do a hands-on experiment and watch the kids being captivated with that. All right, well, I look forward to seeing y'all next week. I hope you enjoyed all these tutor ideas and what we did in our class. Y'all have a great week. Bye.